Hello, hello. Thank you so much for clicking on the video and happy Mother's Day. This is not an attack on marriage or fatherhood, and I'm not judging people who desire a traditional family. If we're going to talk about family values, then we need to be honest about whose values they really are. We set people up to fail, and I will prove exactly what I mean by this, so please stay tuned. The term single mother has become a modern day scarlet letter that says failure before anyone knows her real story, when really they simply stayed when someone else left. I've even noticed women who were once married. They'll often say this as a disclaimer, such as, I'm divorced, or all of my children are by the same man. They say this in hopes of softening the way people judge them, as if it makes our story easier to accept. So, how does one become a single mother? There are many ways you can become a single mother. You can become a widow. You can get divorced, or you can become a married single mother. Women don't just wake up and dream of doing it alone. No one dreams of struggling. Some end up alone after being left. Others choose it after realizing the kind of partnership society sold them turned out to be more of a burden than a blessing. This is just what happens when a society cares more about the picture of a family than the people inside it. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not excusing any harmful or reckless behavior, including promiscuity, but I do believe it's crucial to understand the underlying factors at play. Often, what is perceived as promiscuity is deeply rooted in mental illness, poverty, poor education, and trauma. These are circumstances that many individuals face in a world that is not always kind or just. While personal responsibility remains important, we must also acknowledge the systemic pressures and emotional struggles that can shape these behaviors. It's not enough to judge the outcomes without considering the root causes. Now, let's talk about the nuclear family. A mother and child living alone isn't automatically a broken home, but a violent or loveless marriage behind a white picket fence, that might be. This whole nuclear family thing, the mom, dad, two kids, one house, one dog, that's not ancient wisdom. That's a pretty modern Western idea. Other cultures around the world have practiced communal caregiving, extended family household, matrilineal systems, and non traditional structures for centuries. Even nature doesn't always follow the nuclear family model. In much of the animal kingdom, the mother raises her offspring alone. So maybe the problem isn't the single mother. Maybe it's the story we've been told. Here's something I find a little messed up. A woman says she doesn't want kids and everyone asks why as if she owes them a explanation. She's even seen as a failure. A man says the same thing and people see it as him focusing on getting his bag. It's even seen as logical or smart. And that's a contradiction because we teach women to be caregivers and we teach men to be independent. Then we tell both of them to build the same kind of family, but we give them two totally different maps. One map says pour yourself out for everybody. The other map says protect your freedom, provide resources, don't get too emotional. And then we act surprised when they don't end up in the same place together. And that's how you get broken families. You get resentment. You get women feeling abandoned even when he's right there. Men feeling trapped or lost because no one ever taught them how to actually be a caregiver. We set people up to fail, then blame the woman for trying to hold it all together by herself. What if this was never the only way? What if the family structure we're so desperate to preserve isn't some universal truth, but a social construct, just like many things? Maybe the real issue isn't that women are raising children alone. Maybe it's the belief that every family must look the same to be legit. Because calling someone a single mother shouldn't be an insult, it should be a salute. These women aren't broken, they're carrying what others dropped. They're not irresponsible, they're the ones who show up. So many of us were raised by women who carried the weight of the world alone. They built homes out of nothing and turned their struggles into strength. So before you judge single mothers, ask yourself, are you part of the system that creates them? If these women are truly the problem, then the solution shouldn't be shame. It should be in education. It should be making sure men don't walk away without accountability. It should be in making sure society doesn't withhold support and making sure no woman is left to carry the burden alone. Single mothers aren't a deviation from family, they are its reinvention. They prove that family isn't about a certain structure, it's about devotion. If you've ever been loved, taught, or lifted by a single mother, you don't owe her judgment, you owe her grace. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment. I'll love to know your thoughts, especially if you were raised by a single mom or if you are one. And if you're new here, welcome. I make videos about the things we don't talk about enough. I'll see you in the next one.